Tonight on Q2, slipping into winter. From snow to ice to cold, this October storm is packing a punch, leading to dangerous driving and walking conditions.
Usually the first snow is kind of the tough one.
We've seen over 20 falls today, slipping on the ice, or people just having accidents in the cold weather out here.
And flames erupt in eastern Montana.
It's incredible how big it was.
Shocking views from above as a late-night fire destroys a historic hotel building in Glendive. The MTN 10 o'clock news starts right now.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us on this Wednesday night. I'm Russ Riesinger. Ready or not, winter is making an early appearance across the area. This is the scene outside as snow continues to fall, and it will keep falling throughout the night. But it's not just snow. We're also facing some possible record cold temperatures. Ed will fill us in on the forecast in just a minute, but we begin our coverage tonight with David J.
The weather had its effects and people made adjustments. It became even busier. Driving around town, it looked like people had slowed down a little bit, but pretty much got into the routines. Some took the opportunity to help others and clear the snow, including Harmony Allison, who's in the 4th grade.
It's kind of fun.
Harmony enjoyed this snowy day, clearing the driveway for her grandmother and shoveling part of the sidewalk for a neighbor across the street.
I wanted to shovel a little bit because my grandma doesn't really like to shovel.
Joseph Trottier, a service tech at Montana Sprinkler, has been working in the business for 43 years.
I've done them where there's been 2 feet of snow on the ground and you can still see the vapor. You don't see all the water coming out of them, but if you run them long enough, the water does come out of the sprinklers.
Trottier says last week he was wearing shorts while clearing sprinklers, and this week the weather still worked out well.
Had a good fall. Leaves are still on the tree, a lot of them. Yeah, it's been a good fall. This first day don't scare us because it's going to get nice again here in a week or 2 or so.
And the road conditions made for more cautious driving.
We knew it was coming. It's really cold, but we knew it was coming. A little slick today driving around. People's got to be cautious and watch out.
Aaron Peterson is from Southern California and has lived in Billings for 22 years.
It's 4 seasons. It is the Magic City.
Trottier started in September and may do about 1,000 sprinkler systems by the time he finishes in January, and this weather will not slow him down.
And as soon as we get done today, we'll be probably plowing snow tonight because we do snow removal also. So if it comes down to it, if done snow a whole lot, we'll be out plowing snow in the morning.
What's special about this?
I mean, it's snowing in October.
In Billings, David J., MTN News.
And we are not through with this storm yet. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Ed McIntosh for the very latest on the weather situation. Ed?
We thought we'd give you a little tour around the state from the comfort of your living room because that's where most of us would like to be this evening. You check out some of the slippery streets around the Miles City area where temperatures have continued to drop. We're now at 20 degrees. Just a little bit of a north breeze makes it feel like only about 10 degrees. Let's move the camera on over to Great Falls. There you can see the Civic Center, everything downtown. They started with some of the heavier snow last night, but the cold has really settled in, sitting at 14 degrees right now, and the humidity up to 84%. We could have some areas where we could see some of that freezing fog once again. And as we take a look out towards Bozeman this evening, well, it's a little bit deceiving because the winds are filling up the flag over here, but at the airport around Belgrade, it's only sitting at 19 currently.
And it's not the snow as much as the single-digit temperatures posing dangers for Billings' unhoused population. The Montana Rescue Mission says it's always prepared to handle the demand, but that demand is only going to grow after the Yellowstone County Continuum of Care announced it will not open its shelter. Tonight, our Kelsey Boggs looks into the impact that decision could have.
With snow officially touching down here in Billings, unhoused members of the community are seeking out shelter. But how many beds are truly available?
Time is of the essence. It's not getting any warmer out there.
Winter is coming.
I have very big concerns about that.
Wednesday's winter storm, a harsh awakening to what's ahead.
There is no shortage of people who need a place to stay tonight that is warm, safe, and dry.
Carrie Boyder is the director of the Yellowstone County Continuum of Care, which has helped provide shelter to Billings unhoused residents the past 3 years here at the First Congregational Church downtown. But this year, the emergency shelter won't be opening.
Since we have two wonderful partners in this community that are willing to step up and meet the need for shelter right now, that allows the Continuum of Care to shift its focus to these other needs.
Those two partners, Boyder says, are the Montana Rescue Mission and Off the Streets.
We would love it if we weren't needed, but we just want to be sure that nobody is outside on extremely cold nights.
Jim Mack is a board member for Off the Streets, which has big plans to help address homelessness in Billings. It plans to one day set up 20 by 40 foot tents on a vacant lot near the Yellowstone Art Museum to provide temporary housing. But the nonprofit is not yet ready for that step.
We are running into some statutory snags with the city since there are some regulations against tent encampments and such. So we don't know if we'll get final sign off from the city.
Meaning it's all on Montana Rescue Mission, which has a maximum occupancy of 572 people.
People will literally stay in beds, and we have beds, but when the beds run out, we have mattresses that we can put on the floor with pillows and blankets. And those we have plenty of, and so we just make do.
Luckily, Montana Rescue Mission is building a new campus. The main shelter should be ready to open this spring.
We're literally expanding all of our capacity.
Unfortunately, that doesn't solve this season's issues.
This last January, through the Continuum of Care, there were a total of 598 homeless individuals in Billings and on one night. These are unique individuals. Of those people, there were 116 that were literally unsheltered.
In Billings, Kelsey Boggs, MTN News.
The roads are really slick out there tonight, and so are walkways across Billings and eastern Montana. And all that ice taking its toll, not only leading to several accidents, but also sending dozens of people to the hospital for falls. MTN's Jackie Coffin takes us to the emergency department for more.
Freezing rain Wednesday morning followed by snow in the afternoon has kept both Billings hospitals busy. They've seen multiple patients coming in with injuries from slips and falls. These types of accidents tend to spike with the first snow of the season.
So we splinted a lot of broken wrists. We sewed up a lot of scalps that were cut open, fixed some back injuries.
Dr. Sarah Mitchell has been working in the emergency room at St. Vincent Hospital since 6 a.m.
We've seen over 20 falls today, slipping on the ice or people just having accidents in the cold weather out here today.
20 falls at St. Vincent and 30 falls at Billings Clinic. Slipping on the ice and snow can lead to significant injuries.
Especially if you hit your head or your neck or your back, you could have some major injuries.
By Wednesday morning, the freezing ice melted and was replaced by snow. Better conditions for people walking downtown.
For now, until it freezes up.
But Dr. Mitchell says most of the patients coming in for injuries are seniors and people who took a fall not far from outside their home.
A lot of the injuries we saw came in the early dark hours of the morning today when people couldn't see that the ground was slick and icy.
And a few reminders from Dr. Mitchell for older folks walking outside. Use a cane or walker if your doctor prescribes it. Take small shuffling steps and keep your hands out of your pockets.
So that if you fall, it's better to have an arm injury than a head injury for most people.
Words of caution to remember is Montanans of all ages prepare for winter on the way.
Yes, I feel like it's going to be worse than last year.
In Billings, Jackie Coffin, MTN News.
A former Billings insurance agent must pay back $86,000 in restitution after she pleaded guilty to defrauding an insurance company. According to charging documents, Jessica Siegel falsified records for dozens of fake clients, forged signatures, and then collected commission. Siegel was hired as an independent sales consultant by Colonial Penn Life Insurance in 2018. Well, with that company, she submitted 143 false applications for 58 made-up employees, making more than $115,000 in commissions. Siegel tried to resign in August of 2020, but the company terminated her contract instead. Montana State University is under investigation by the U.S. Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights. According to the Daily Montanan, the discrimination investigation is in response to failing to respond appropriately after the Queer Straight Alliance received a death threat last semester. The Office for Civil Rights said the federal agency received more than 20 complaints alleging the university failed in its response to harassment reports based on sex, race, color, and national origin. Now, the Queer Straight Alliance provides support for LGBTQ+ students at MSU. In an email to the Daily Montanan, MSU said law enforcement found the threats were not credible and the event took place without incident. A massive fire overnight in Glendive as the historic Jordan Hotel building went up in flames. Our Charlie Klepp spoke with several residents who jumped into action to try and help.
It was just enormous.
As Nick Smelser scrolled through Facebook Tuesday night, she stumbled across these shocking images.
I kept saying, oh my God, I don't even know how many times I said it.
Her reaction, right in line with many other Glendive residents, as a massive fire burned one of the town's most historic buildings to the ground.
I looked over at my husband and I said, I feel compelled to just go down there.
Smelser jumped into action, driving her food truck down to the scene to help feed the first responders.
First responders are very dear to my heart. It was a no-brainer for me.
So as soon as she said she was going down there, I was like, well, I'll get dressed and head down.
Lacey Newton helps Smelser with her food truck on a regular basis. The two worked side by side for more than 4 hours preparing meals.
The flames were huge. You could almost feel the warmth, and we were probably, 200 yards away from the fire yet.
The Jordan Hotel hasn't been open for 10 years. It was closed down due to multiple health concerns. But both Smelser and Newton say they know how important the building was to the community.
I can respect the history and, appreciate it. And it really is sad to see it up in flames.
It is sad that this happened because it did mean so much to so many people.
A local landmark now gone. But these women say they actually left the scene feeling grateful to live in a town always willing to lend a helping hand.
Unreal how amazing this community is.
It's inspiring and it's really moving.
In Glendive, Charlie Klepp, MTN News.
If you're a NorthWestern Energy customer, get ready for even bigger bills. The Montana Public Service Commission has given approval to an agreement allowing the energy company to increase its base electric and natural gas rates. That order follows a settlement agreement between NorthWestern, the Montana Consumer Council, and other stakeholders. It allows the utility to recover about $100 million in additional revenue, though that's less than what they initially asked for. PSC staff said the increase on customers' bills will be moderated because the commission already approved an interim increase last year. They estimated an average residential customer's electrical bill could go up about $8 a month. The increase does not include the cost of the proposed gas plant in Laurel. Still to come on the MTN 10 o'clock news here on Q2, a decision at last. The House saga in Washington comes to an end. We'll have the latest on the new speaker. And in sports, a Mustang runs wild. The Shepherd tailback has the end zone and records in his sights. We'll hear from him coming up in just a bit. We're following some breaking news this evening of multiple mass shootings in Lewiston, Maine. That's a city of about 38,000. There are reports that at least 22 people have been killed and another 50 to 60 injured. It's not clear yet how many of them were shot. The sheriff's office released images of a suspect who was seen holding a high-powered assault-style rifle and encouraged all businesses to go into lockdown. Those shootings taking place in at least 2 locations, a bowling alley and a restaurant. So just a horrible situation in Lewiston, Maine, where at least 22 people, possibly more, have been shot to death tonight. 3 weeks and 3 nominees later, the House finally has a new speaker tonight.
Therefore, the Honorable Mike Johnson of the state of Louisiana, having received a majority of the votes cast, is duly elected Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Republicans elected Louisiana Congressman Mike Johnson in a unanimous vote on the floor. Johnson, who is serving his 4th term, was able to win by holding on to his conservative principles while still winning over moderates.
We have to sacrifice sometimes our preferences because that's what's necessary in a legislative body. But we will defend our core principles to the end.
Johnson, a Trump ally, voted to decertify the 2020 presidential election. He also voted for a national abortion ban and voted against legalizing same-sex marriage as well as the Ukraine aid package. That last vote could be put to test immediately, with President Biden asking Congress for more than $100 billion to fund the war in Ukraine and provide military aid to Israel and Taiwan. Former President Trump said on social media that Johnson will make a great speaker. Well, a real taste of winter for our area today.
That's right. Yeah, it came with a lot, including some areas where we saw the ice. A pretty scene from Dave. Thanks for sharing that one. At weather@ktvq.com. That ice didn't look nearly as nice on my windshield this morning, though, or on the roadways here tonight. We were both dealing with that.
Yeah, I tell you what, they're really slick out there today.
Yeah, use a lot of care. Come back, take a look at the forecast up next.